The same week I returned from maternity leave, I received this letter in my personal email, letting me know I'd been laid off from the company I'd been with for 8 years. Surely this was a mistake. I'm a high performer. How could this happen? I have a family. How am I going to make ends meet? I was living one of the lowest moments of my career, losing my job abruptly, and one of the highest moments of my life, being a mother. And in the collision of these highs and lows, what shook me to my core was the absence of leadership. I was left without a conversation and no place to sit with it. I could have stayed the course, found another job, and made the layoff a distant memory. But I couldn't ignore what that moment had revealed to me. I'd been out of the military for 10 years and had done everything I was supposed to do. I had developed skills. I'd exceeded expectations. I delivered results. And then, with one email, the ground shifted beneath me and brought me right back to when I'd left the military. That's when I realized something we don't talk about enough. Transitions continue to happen over a lifetime. Even when you do everything you're supposed to do, life will move you into moments you didn't choose. And when that happens, the only steady ground is who you are. Losing my job didn't end my leadership journey. It clarified it and gave me permission to step forward differently. What we live through guides what comes next. And when leadership is grounded in experience, it becomes steadier through transition and more effective in how we serve others. That understanding as a military veteran is why I founded a nonprofit that focuses on advancing leadership journeys for the veteran community. Leadership training doesn't end when you hang up the uniform. And the more connected you are to yourself, the more effective your leadership becomes through every transition that follows. That's why our guiding philosophy is that leadership is about becoming yourself. When we talk about leadership, we usually talk about skills, strategy, decision-making, presence, vision. And when something feels missing, especially during times of transition, we go searching for quick fixes. We scroll, we binge watch, we chase the next certification or title to add more. And while some of it may help, clarity rarely comes from adding more, because what's missing is not external. When you don't connect your experiences to who you are as a leader, your skills and accomplishments can only go so far. Titles and awards get you noticed, but leadership is decided by how people experience us. Research shows that highly accomplished leaders are not consistently rated as more effective by the people they lead. What matters is how leaders show up, and that comes from knowing yourself enough to trust what you've lived. When your leadership has been defined from the outside for long enough, it's easy to forget how to define it from your own lived experience. That's why I begin our programs with an exercise called Leadership Lifelines. I like to call it the cold plunge of the session. It can be uncomfortable at first, but it clarifies and wakes people up. The exercise is inspired by a heart monitor. It rises and falls, showing us the heartbeat is alive and working. And while a flat line might look calm, nothing is functioning. Leadership lifelines work the same way. We draw a line across time and mark the high and low experiences that have shaped our leadership journeys. The question shifts from what leadership roles have you held to what experiences have influenced your leadership. It helps uncover reasons behind how and why someone leads the way they do. And because people are sharing their experiences from the start, it creates a space where connection happens fast. People stop holding back and start noticing each other differently. What often brings them together are not the highs they list, it's the obstacles they've lived through and learned from. When I mapped my own leadership lifeline, I saw how moments of transition influenced my leadership over time. Serving in the Old Guard and leading ceremonies at Arlington National Cemetery strengthened my understanding of what it means to be present for others in their most vulnerable moments. A year earlier, I had been deployed to one of the most volatile regions in Afghanistan where I lost a close friend. Experiencing that loss made it clear how far-reaching the effects are on the people left behind, and why the handling of transitions carries such an importance. When I was going through ceremonial training, I knew it needed to be demanding because the environment required attention and care. Every detail, from uniform precision to voice commands, marching and maintaining composure, impacted the experience of the people you were serving. And for those in the midst of loss, the presence you brought mattered. At Dover Air Force Base, I led a ceremony where families were given a private moment to see the flag-draped caskets of their loved ones escorted off the aircraft. The heartbreak never leaves you, and neither does the responsibility. While the ceremonies are brief, they provide an anchor during transition. They inform how people remember, how they process what has happened, and how they move forward. That's where conversations begin, and when people need a place to sit with what comes next. Leadership is paying attention to what you've lived and letting it inform how you lead. The high and low moments we experience affect the way we show up, whether we acknowledge them or not. But when we take the time to connect those experiences to who we are, leadership becomes steadier through the transitions that happen over a lifetime. This chair came from my home. I brought this chair with me to one of our leadership programs because I know what it's like to need a seat and not have one. This seat has held conversations among leaders that sparked reflection and insight, built new connections, and filled rooms with possibility. Your lived experience is legitimate leadership training. All you need to do is become yourself. Thank you.